Welcome to the Weco system. Today we got a wavelength hot taper tutorial for y'all. So of course, first things first, you want to pick the hair out or comb it out however long the hair is. You just want to get the hair lifted off the scalp so that your clippers can flow through smoothly. So my preferred guard for cutting down wavers is a 2 guard. Sometimes that 1.5 hit, but that 2 guard really give me that depth so that I can really blend into it, and it leaves the hair on top dark enough to give it some swag. So with all hot tapers, you have to remove the C-cup. So here, that is exactly what I am doing. So with my clipper, no guard open, we're gonna go over about a finger's width. And what I mean by that is you should be able to take your finger and put it on your taper and see how wide that guideline is. Now I'm about to close my clipper up halfway, and then I'm gonna drop down the close and just fade that guideline out. Now I'm about to down fade, so I got my 2 guard on open, and we're gonna take some of that weight out from the taper and go down towards where we were just at and connect the 2 spaces. Now I'm closing the lever and I'm going right below where I just went open. Now I'm starting to fade back up with my 1 guard open. The previous step was more of a debulking step, and now I'm gonna take this 1 guard and go up about another finger's width to add to that blend. Now I'm closing the lever up halfway, and then you're gonna watch me hit it close. I always go open, halfway, close, unless I feel like the situation doesn't cause for me to go halfway. Sometimes I go open straight to close, but for the most part I always go open, halfway, close to ensure that I'm hitting everything. Now you see I got my 0.5 guard on, and I always go halfway because open really doesn't cut anything. But I'm using the corner of my blade with this, and it's gonna fade in the no guard and the 1 guard area. And it's just a real precise type of blade. It's almost like a detailing type of blade, but you just want to be very careful not to push the fade up too high with this. I was calling it a blade, but I meant to say guard, but now I'm on no guard and I'm using the corner, and I got my clipper tilted at an angle so that I can hit like every other hair. I like to call it spot hitting. Now I got my 1.5 guard, and I'm going right below where we went with that 2 guard to blend the 2 guard with the rest of the taper. And here's one of those situations where I just went open to close because I didn't feel like I had to go halfway. Now I'm putting my 1 guard back on, and we just about to lay those hairs down at the top of the taper into the taper. A part of fading being able to blend with the grain and against the grain. So on the back taper, you gotta keep the back taper below the occipital bone. That's a part of the head that stick out in the back. So I'm setting my guideline in low so that it give us room to blend up, and it won't be such a shortly tight blended taper. So I'm taking my 1.5 guard to set in the foundation as to how high I'm gonna go, so I don't go up too high. You want to set precautions when you cutting hair as well to prevent you from messing up. Now I'm gonna go up another finger's width with the no guard open, and you know how we're gonna fade that out. No guard open, halfway, close. Now we back with the 1 guard open, and we're gonna go up another finger's width, and we scooping out. You feel me? You gotta scoop out. You don't want to set in any harsh guidelines. You want to be able to put them junks in and fade them junks out. So we're gonna go halfway, and we're gonna close it up, and we're gonna move on to the next one. Now I'm taking that guard off. We're going no guard, and we're gonna spot hit. Same thing, corner of the blade, no guard, getting the dark spots out with the clipper slightly tilted at an angle. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna give us an advantage and the ability to detail our tapers better. Now I'm gonna take this 2 guard open, and we're gonna scoop out. Y'all can see where that thick line at. We gotta blend that into the rest of the hair. We gotta blend it into the bulkiness of the hair. So y'all see how I'm doing a couple of strokes and I'm combing. You gotta comb and you gotta brush. Y'all see I just closed it up. When I'm at the lower parts of the hair, I like to use a brush because it lay it down better. And when I get into the thicker parts of the hair, I like to use a comb because it separates the hair. You feel me? Now I'm going 1.5 and we're going open and close as well. These one of them situations where I did not go open halfway close because of my situational awareness when cutting. It's just my preference. Now I'm dropping down to the 1 guard open, and y'all see I just closed it. We kind of spot hidden because each part of the head, the hair doesn't grow the same. So you have to be able to do trial and error to get the desired look, to get an even look. And the same rules apply for this side of the head. The order may be a little different, but it's the same principles that I applied on the other side and the back.
HP, this shit bumpin', man. Shit bumpin', man. Shit bumpin', man.
Now here to be cautious, I put on a 1.5 to debulk the hairline because I see he got slightly light corners, but after seeing that it didn't cut much off, I dropped down to my 1 guard, which y'all about to see, so that we can kinda, you know what I'm saying, finesse this junk, because we don't want to lower it down too low. We still want to keep it kind of full. So I'm about to add my shaving cream, and this shaving cream, if y'all don't know, it just cleanses the skin. You know, it kind of helps it get rid of the dirt and the oils and the buildup if it's any there. It just cleans the surface and it cleans the hairs so that your clippers can go through smoothly. And of course, you gotta top that junk off with a hot towel. It's just something about that hot towel. You can't use a cold towel. You can't just put shaving cream on, bro. You're gonna have to use a hot towel. So if you're in the crib, microwave that junk. Or if you just got some real hot water, put it on your towel, wring that junk out, and go on with your, you know, your method. And right here I'm blow drying it because I want the hair to be dry as possible or semi-dry, so that when I add my holding spray, it doesn't create this gunky, gooey type of feel. I want it to be able to lay on a dry or semi-dry canvas so that it can give me the best effect possible when I'm using my trimmers. And of course, if y'all didn't know, we gotta blow dry that back in as well, the holding spray. And I typically use cold air when I'm doing it. Sometimes I may use hot if I'm dealing with thicker hair, because thicker hair tends to dry a little bit slower. So I moved to the back lineup to give the front lineup more time to dry and solidify. And so I'm just taking my clipper, no guard open, and just raking down around the ears so that I can have a smooth place to line up. As you can see, the clippers are hidden. I don't have to do too much work. That's because we prepped the lineup by using the clippers to knock off the excessive curls that will hang over and give us any problems and have us doing too much work. It's just a simple trick, a little slight hack, you know what I'm saying? It just allow you to get the job easier, give you a more polished look, and allow for your trimmers to hit through smoother. Now for this lineup, it wasn't anything special. You know, we just took the weight off of the middle and the corners are already light. and we got a hot taper on them, so we just got to get this junk in order before we add the enhancements. And I am using a compressor, and I think it's my favorite barber hair solution. And we kind of just filling in those corners where it was lighted and matching it up with the rest of the haircut. We ain't going pitch black, and we're gonna add a couple of fibers on top to add to the texture of it. We don't want it too shiny with the airbrush mixture. If you don't add no fibers on top, it'll give you a shiny look, like it's just tacky, you know what I'm saying? So we adding them fibers on to give it texture. And he requested the pencil, so we're gonna put on a light layer of the pencil, and we're gonna blend it in with our trimmers and our razor. I never leave it on just like this because it's ghetto. I grew up in Memphis, I'm still in Memphis, and I hate when people leave that pencil on. So always fade it out with your trimmers, and you can get the rest of the residue with your razor as well. Yeah, man, this cut wasn't too much. This how he came in before, and this how he's leaving out. If it's any other haircuts you want to see on this channel, comment them down below. And if you want me to give you tips on your work, hit the link in my description to DM me on Instagram. And of course, if you learned something from this video, please hit that like button and the subscribe button as well if you would like to see more content like this. We out.